The wedding was a symphony of perfection, white roses cascading from crystal vases, the air laced with the scent of jasmine and champagne. Laughter spilled across the gilded hall, mingling with soft orchestral strings. The bride stood radiant beneath a canopy of golden light, her lace veil trembling like a secret. Then, the doors burst open. A man stood silhouetted in the entrance, his eyes wild, chest heaving as if he had run through storms. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The groom turned pale. The bride dropped her bouquet. The stranger didn't speak. He only looked at her, eyes locked, nostrils flaring. The alpha had caught her scent. "Mine," he growled, low and primal, a sound that didn't belong in a room of chandeliers and diamonds. A scream pierced the silence. Chaos erupted, chairs toppling, glasses shattering. And in that heartbeat of truth, she remembered nothing of her human life. Only instinct. Only him. In the aftermath of chaos, silence returned like an unwelcome guest. The bride Evelyn stood unmoving, her gown torn at the hem, eyes locked on the man who'd shattered everything. Her mother sobbed in the background, clinging to her pearls, while guests whispered the word, "Feral." The alpha stepped forward slowly. No one dared stop him. "You don't know me," Evelyn whispered, her voice trembling. But her scent, her body, knew him. Every nerve fired like recognition buried too deep to name. He was no stranger. He was written into her bones. Her groom reached for her hand. She pulled away, confused, ashamed. "You're not human," the alpha said, low and calm. "You were never just that." Evelyn stared at him as if pulled between two worlds, one of chandeliers and illusion, the other wild and dark and true. Evelyn sat on the cold marble floor outside the hall, heart pounding like drums from a life she didn't recognize. Her skin tingled where his voice had touched her. People passed her, murmuring and avoiding her eyes. The world she thought she knew cracked at the edges. A bridesmaid crouched beside her. "Are you okay?" Evelyn wanted to lie. She couldn't. "I felt something," she said, voice raw. "Like I was waking up." Her friend looked stricken. That was a werewolf. The word hung between them like a curse. But Evelyn didn't feel cursed. She felt unveiled. Far from the venue, the alpha stood beneath a crescent moon, breath steaming in the night air. He could still smell her, wild jasmine and lightning. He'd searched years for that scent. She was hidden from them, protected, made to believe she was human. But her blood called. He clenched his fists. "She doesn't know," he muttered. Behind him, another figure emerged from the trees, a tall woman with silver eyes. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "The council will not ignore this." He turned toward her, eyes burning gold. "Let them come. She's mine." That night, Evelyn dreamed of running barefoot through wild grass, of howling winds and glowing eyes. She was faster than wind, sharper than shadow. She woke with a gasp, her senses roaring. The air smelled too clear. The city's noise felt distant. And her hands, her nails, were sharp. "What's happening to me?" she whispered, staring at her reflection in the mirror. But her eyes were no longer hers. They burned amber. Evelyn sat at the edge of her bathtub, trembling fingers running under cold water as she tried to scrub away the memory of what she'd seen, what she'd become. Her eyes still flickered amber in dim light. She blinked rapidly, whispering to herself, "It's not real." But the truth clung to her skin. Outside, the city hummed as if nothing had changed. Inside, her body pulsed with something ancient. The knock on the door jolted her. "Evelyn, it's me," her fiancé's voice called gently. "Please, open up." She stared at the locked door. The man she was supposed to marry sounded foreign now. Too quiet, too tame. "I can't," she replied, barely above a whisper. "There's something wrong with me." On the other side, silence. Then, "It's him, isn't it? The one from the wedding." Her breath caught. The truth wasn't a yes or no. It was a howl buried in her blood, waiting to be let out. In the shadows of an abandoned church on the city's edge, the Alpha knelt on cracked marble, tracing invisible sigils into the dust. The moonlight streamed through broken panes, painting his scarred back in silver streaks. "She is waking," he whispered. "And when she does, the others will come." Behind him, the silver-eyed woman lit a candle. "You've risked everything." He didn't look at her. "She's more than a scent. She's the end of this lie we've all lived." Thunder rumbled in the distance. "And if she chooses the human world?" the woman asked. He rose slowly, golden eyes alight. "Then I burn both." Evelyn wandered into the city park at twilight, heart hammering, drawn to the scent of earth and pine like a song. She didn't know where she was going, only that her feet moved before thought. Birds silenced as she passed. The wind felt alive. In a clearing, she stopped. He was already there. "You shouldn't be here," she said, though her voice betrayed longing. The Alpha turned. "And yet, you came." She swallowed hard. "I feel different." He stepped closer. "Because you are. You're not broken, Evelyn. You're awakening." She backed away. "Then, I want to go back to sleep." But the look in her eyes said otherwise. She returned home to find her apartment in disarray, drawers pulled open, papers strewn. Panic surged. Who was here? Her phone buzzed. A message. "They know. Run." She barely had time to grab a coat before the hallway lights flickered. Outside, black SUVs lined the curb. Men in dark suits stepped out, eyes cold and calculated. Evelyn bolted for the stairwell. Her breath thundered in her ears. She wasn't just a girl discovering a secret. She was a threat. And someone was hunting her for it. The city blurred past as Evelyn ran through back streets, heart beating like a war drum. She ducked into an alley, her breath visible in the cold. Behind her, footsteps echoed. Then, silence. A shadow peeled from the wall. It was him. "I said not yet," the Alpha growled, voice deep with power. "They'll kill you." Evelyn was too breathless to speak. He grabbed her hand. "If you come with me now, you live. If not, I'll die trying to get you out again." Her eyes searched his. Trust wasn't born. It flared in moments like this. "Take me," she said, voice shaking. And they ran, not as strangers, but something ancient reuniting under starlight. The safe house was carved deep into the forest, cloaked in moss and silence. Inside, Evelyn paced the wooden floor, bare feet creaking over time-worn boards. The Alpha, Rowan, sat on the edge of a table, watching her with unreadable eyes. "You need to rest," he said, voice softer now, edged with concern. She spun on him. "How can I sleep knowing people want me dead? Knowing I'm not what I thought?" Rowan stood. "You were never what they told you. That fear, that power in your chest, that's your birthright." She pressed a hand over her heart. "Then why does it feel like I'm falling apart?" He stepped close. "Because your soul is remembering what your mind forgot." And beneath her panic, something stirred. Recognition. A name she'd never heard but felt as hers. That night, Evelyn couldn't sleep. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, like voices calling her home. She stepped onto the porch, moonlight draping her in silver. Rowan followed silently. "Why me?" she asked. "Why was I hidden?" He leaned on the rail beside her. "Because you're descended from the first. You weren't just born into the bloodline, you are its turning point." She shook her head, tears glinting. "I didn't ask for this." He looked at her then, the firelight from inside catching the gold in his eyes. "Neither did I, but it's ours now." The moment stretched, and something unspoken bridged between them. Not romance. Not yet. But truth. Back in the city, agents stood over a map littered with photos of Evelyn, her known contacts, and grainy footage from wedding security cameras. "She's with the rogue," one barked, pointing to Rowan's image. "She doesn't know what she is yet. That makes her volatile." A woman with iron-gray hair leaned forward. No, that makes her usable. If we reach her before he does, she can still be an asset. In the corner, a younger agent hesitated. And if she chooses them? Silence. Then the woman smiled coldly. Then, she's expendable. Orders were dispatched. Evelyn wasn't a missing bride. She was now a national target. Evelyn found the old journal tucked beneath a floorboard in the cabin. Dusty, leather-bound, etched with a crescent moon. She opened it, pages crackling. Inside were entries written in sharp, elegant cursive. The bloodline was nearly broken. She was hidden, but we felt her scent in the wind. The girl with storm in her bones. Her breath hitched. She read name after name, people like her. And at the end a family crest burned into parchment. Rowan entered, stopping when he saw it in her hands. "That was my mother's," he said. "She died protecting your name." The weight of it crushed her. Not just a past, she had a legacy. Outside the cabin, the wind changed. Rowan froze. "They're here." Evelyn stood, heart racing. "Who?" His eyes narrowed. "Hunters." From the woods, red laser dots scanned the trees. Evelyn's blood surged, vision sharpening unnaturally. She felt her body shift, not fully, but enough to hear heartbeats in the dark. Rowan reached for her hand. "We don't run this time." A howl split the forest. Not his. Another pack. Enemy. "You said I wasn't ready," she whispered. Rowan's voice was steady. "You are now." And together, they stepped into the trees, shadows melting around them. The forest erupted. Rowan shifted mid-leap, half-wolf form tearing into one of the advancing hunters, with speed Evelyn couldn't comprehend. She ducked behind a fallen log as gunfire cracked the air, scent of silver and burning wood choking her throat. "Run, Evelyn," he shouted through snarled teeth. But she didn't. Something inside her snapped like a dam breaking. Whoa! She stood, eyes glowing, limbs trembling as a guttural growl rose from her chest. A hunter raised his rifle, too slow. Evelyn lunged, strength surging through muscle she never trained. He hit the ground before he could scream. For the first time, she didn't feel fear. She felt alive. She was becoming. When the battle ceased, the air was still, except for Evelyn's heaving breath, and the distant wail of retreating sirens. The ground was littered with bodies, some unconscious, others not. Rowan limped toward her, a gash along his ribs. "You didn't run," he said. She shook her head. "I couldn't." He touched her cheek, fingers trembling. "They'll come back, next time with more." Evelyn looked down at her blood-stained hands. "Then, I need to be ready." He nodded. "We train, we fight, but most of all, we find the truth they tried to bury." Her voice was firm. "Then we start with my parents." In the archives hidden beneath an ancient crypt, Evelyn and Rowan stood before a sealed stone door, marked with the same crest from the journal. "Your blood opens it," Rowan said quietly. Evelyn stepped forward, palm trembling as she pressed it against the carving. The stone warmed, then cracked open with a hiss of air untouched for decades. Inside, walls lined with scrolls and faded photographs whispered forgotten truths. Among them, a photo of a woman with Evelyn's eyes, younger, fiercer. "My mother," Evelyn breathed. A journal beside it read, "The child must never know. She carries the end and the beginning." They pored over the documents late into the night. Lineages traced back to the first shifters. Names struck through in red ink. Records of experiments, children taken, identities wiped. Evelyn found hers. Subject 47, suppressed abilities. Monitored by handler #12. Her blood chilled. "That's my adoptive father's code." Rage flared, but Rowan steadied her. "They hid you in plain sight. Trained you to forget." She clenched her fists. "Not anymore." Her voice cracked. "I trusted him." Rowan pulled her close, letting her shudder in silence. "You were never the lie, Evelyn. You were the truth hidden behind it." They left the crypt just before dawn, the forest shrouded in soft mist. Evelyn walked ahead, straighter now, each step heavier with clarity. "We have to expose them," she said. "All of it. The bloodline, the corruption, the ones still being hidden." Rowan nodded. "But first we find the others. You're not the only one they buried." A howl rose in the distance, not a threat, but a call. Rowan tilted his head. "They're coming to you. You're waking them." Evelyn's gaze lifted toward the horizon, sunlight breaking through trees. "Then, let them come. I'm done hiding." The resistance hideout was buried beneath an abandoned train station. Evelyn stood before a semicircle of shifters, young, old, wary, scarred. She could feel their doubts pressing against her skin. Rowan stayed back, letting her speak. "They tried to erase me," she said. "But they failed. And now they'll try to erase you too." Murmurs stirred. "We aren't just survivors, we're descendants of something sacred, and we've forgotten who we are." A woman stepped forward, a long scar down her cheek. "And you think you'll lead us?" Evelyn met her gaze. "No, I think we rise together." The silence that followed didn't feel like rejection. It felt like awakening. Night fell hard as the first mission began. Evelyn led a small team through the city's underbelly, sewers, tunnels, rooftops, to infiltrate the facility where other bloodline children were rumored to be held. Every step forward tested her instincts, her memory, her power. Rowan moved beside her like a ghost, their silence heavy with anticipation. "We're close," she whispered, nose twitching. Scent was no longer foreign, it was compass and code. One level down, she could smell them. Fear, youth, blood. "We bring them home," she said. Rowan grinned. "Alpha's orders?" She smirked. "No, family's duty." The rescue exploded into chaos. Sirens blared, steel doors slammed, and tranquilizer darts whistled through the air. Evelyn moved like instinct personified, dodging, shielding, breaking locks. Behind her, two children clung to each other, eyes wide with terror. "It's okay," she said, pulling them close. "You're safe now." One whispered, "Are you like us?" She nodded, voice steady even through gunfire. "I was hidden too, but not anymore." Rowan crashed through a wall, snarling, clearing a path. The children ran with Evelyn, through smoke and sparks into the night. They didn't make it out untouched. Rowan lay on a table in the safe house, pale and shaking, silver lodged near his ribs. Evelyn hovered over him, hands bloodied, panic in her breath. "Stay with me," she said. He gave a weak smile. "You fought like a queen, don't joke," she snapped, tears slipping. "The silver wouldn't dissolve." "You can't die," she said. "I just found you." He touched her wrist. "Then don't let go." Her energy surged. Something primal cracked open in her palms. Heat, light, memory. She pressed both hands to the wound. The silver hissed. And Rowan screamed. But he lived. Rowan recovered by sunrise, leaning against the cabin doorway, watching Evelyn spar with the others. Her movements were sharper now, wolf fast, lightning precise. "She's ready," one of the elders whispered. "She's what we needed." Rowan nodded, chest heavy with pride and something deeper. Evelyn turned to him, sweat glistening, eyes glowing. "You okay?" He smirked. "I should be asking you." She walked toward him, each step grounded in purpose. "This ends soon," she said. "They either fall, or we burn their lies down." And for the first time Rowan saw her not just as the girl he'd scented, but as the alpha she was meant to become. The council convened in a high tower far above the city, walls of glass veiled in clouds. Their faces were ageless, some human, some not. In the center, a hologram flickered, Evelyn's image, eyes glowing, fists clenched mid-combat. "She's united them," one said. Another scowled. This was why she was hidden. She'll dismantle everything. The head counselor stood slowly. "She is the convergence, the end of the bloodline's leash." A silence followed, thick and final. Activate Protocol Severance, she ordered. End it, before the world follows her howl. The others bowed. Somewhere below, unseen, a switch was flipped. Back at the safe house, Evelyn awoke with a jolt. Her chest burned, not pain but pressure. A sensation like a cord being pulled tight across the sky. Something's wrong, she said. Rowan, already awake, nodded grimly. The council's moving. I felt it too. Outside, the wind shifted. Birds scattered. Trees moaned low like they remembered something old and cruel. They're not coming for just me now, Evelyn whispered. They want to end all of us. Rowan stood, hand outstretched. Then let's give them a reason to fear us. She took his hand, fire in her blood. The hunted were done hiding. The resistance camp became a war council. Maps spread across tables. Old warriors whispered of council tech. Young bloods trained harder than ever. Evelyn moved among them, her presence a catalyst. She wasn't just a leader now. She was legend unfolding. This isn't a battle for survival, she said. It's a battle for truth, for bloodlines they erased, for every howl that went unheard. As she spoke, more arrived, packs from distant mountains, cities, forgotten forests. Word had spread. The girl once hidden was rising. Tomorrow, she said, we make them remember who we are. And the camp howled in unison. That evening, Evelyn found herself alone on a ridge overlooking the valley. Below, lights from the camp flickered like fireflies. Rowan joined her quietly. You're different now, he said. Not just stronger, sharper. She looked at him, half smiling. You made me believe I could be. He took a breath. When this is over, win or lose, I want to find what we were before all this. She reached for his hand. There's no before anymore, just after. And we'll build it together. No kiss passed between them, but something more did. A binding. A promise. A future neither had dared imagine, until now. Midnight struck, and the first wave came. Silent, coordinated, ruthless. The council's black-clad soldiers dropped from skycrafts like shadows made flesh. But the resistance didn't flinch. Evelyn led the charge, claws out, body halfway into her shift, eyes blazing. Rowan flanked her, and behind them, hundreds surged forward. The battle raged beneath a moon caught in blood-red eclipse. Every move Evelyn made was memory and fury, ancestral and new. For every child they silenced, she roared, ripping through the front lines. Tonight wasn't about vengeance. It was reclamation. The world would know their names. The battle lasted until the moon began to fade, the sky bleeding into a bruised dawn. Smoke curled over scorched earth, mingling with the scent of blood and ash. Evelyn stood atop the ruined tower, the one the council had once used to watch the world burn beneath them. Now, it burned. Her hair was damp with sweat, tangled and wild, her breath fogging as the cold air returned. Around her, survivors gathered in silence. No cheers. Only awe. Rowan climbed the rubble beside her, limping, blood at his collar. It's done, he said, hoarse and breathless. She didn't look at him. Her gaze was on the remains of the council's skycraft, now crumpled steel, lit by embers. No, she whispered, voice steady, not victorious. It's just beginning. They buried the fallen beneath the roots of the ancient forest. No coffins. Just stones. Names carved by hand. Bark etched with quiet prayers. Evelyn knelt beside each grave, whispering words in a language she didn't know she remembered. Her fingers trembled as they traced the crest of her bloodline burned into smooth granite. When she reached the last stone, her knees sank into the moss. Rowan's mother. She gave her life to protect a girl who didn't know her name, Evelyn said. Rowan crouched beside her, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. And now that girl became what she was always meant to be. Leaves rustled in the wind above, sounding almost like voices. Almost like home. News spread like fire over dry grass. The council had fallen. Their archives were seized. Journalists exposed decades of erasure, of blood trials, of children turned weapons. Evelyn stood before a united tribunal, not in chains, but in command. She wore a simple black coat, her family crest pinned proudly. "We don't want revenge," she said. "We want truth. We want a name, a place." Her voice didn't quake. It rang. "We are not monsters. You made us ghosts. We came back to live." She held her ground as silence stretched. Then one person stood, clapping. Then another. Until the room thundered with applause, not just approval, but recognition. Months later the forest breathed again. A village had risen from ash and memory. Wooden homes circled fire pits, laughter rang through the trees, and children ran barefoot with wolf pups trailing behind. Evelyn strolled through the village, her boots muddy, her shoulders loose for the first time in years. A little girl tugged her hand. "You're the one who made the bad people go away." Evelyn knelt, brushing hair from the child's face. "No, we all did." Rowan watched from a doorway, arms crossed, his expression soft. Evelyn walked to him, took his hand, their fingers fitting like truth and fire. "They feared our claws," she said. "But it was always our future they feared most." On the edge of the forest, under a full moon, Evelyn stood alone. The world was quiet, the kind of quiet that follows truth. She inhaled deeply, pine, rain-soaked earth, ash, and freedom. "I thought I was human," she said, her voice low, steady. "Until the alpha recognized my scent." She looked up. "But I was never just one thing. I was always more." From the trees, a wolf emerged, Rowan, sleek and silent. He brushed against her leg. Her hand touched his fur. She closed her eyes. When they opened, amber burned in them. With a single exhale, she shifted, graceful, wild, complete. Together, they disappeared into the woods. Not lost. Not hiding. But home.